Nightly News.
Could rising gas prices result in impeachment for President Trump?
Looking for more excitement? Denton has a new game lounge, and we'll tell you more.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on NTTV Nightly News. I'm Edison Stewart.
And I'm Alexandria Teeters. An undercover sting in Denton County ends with 8 men in handcuffs. Our reporter Marguerite Calkins is live at the sheriff's office with how investigators used social media to lure them in. Marguerite?
Thanks, Alexandria. 8 men were charged after a month-long undercover sting here in Denton County. The human trafficking unit ran 2 operations, one posing as an adult escort on Meadow Lane and another posing as a child under 17 on various dating apps. In total, 5 men are facing felony charges for online solicitation of a minor, while 3 others were arrested for solicitation of prostitution. Over 300,000 Texans are estimated to be victims of human trafficking. This includes an estimated 79,000 youth victims of sex trafficking and 234,000 adult victims of labor trafficking. Most suspects have since been bonded out, but deputies say this multi-agency sweep sends a clear message. You never know who's watching. With NTTV Nightly News, I'm Marguerite Calkins.
Well, thank you for that update, Marguerite. And Alexandria, after last week's stormy weekend, the sun is out today. However, we might be seeing a continuing pattern of gloomy weekends as storms are expected to move in again on Saturday.
You know, honestly, I would be mad about that, but this weekend I'm not because I have a full weekend of schoolwork. But for now, our weather anchor Emily Rice is here to give us a first look at the weather. Emily?
Thanks, Alexandria. While weekend weather seems to be gloomy, current conditions are showing temperatures at 77 degrees with mild wind speeds of 13 miles per hour and nice sunny skies. Tonight, we can expect a significant drop in temperature down to 63 degrees with some low wind speeds of 6 miles per hour and clear skies. Tomorrow, we'll expect a rise in temperature up to 79 degrees, feeling a little bit warmer at 80 degrees with those nice 13 mile per hour wind speeds and sunny weather. Even though the sun is shining for now, coming up in our full look at weather, I'll tell you what to expect going into this stormy weekend.
Thank you, Emily. Well, both U.S. President Donald Trump and Iranian leaders have portrayed the last-minute ceasefire deal as a victory for their nations. President Trump has suggested the nation to, quote, joint venture with Iran by working to dig up and remove buried uranium in the nation, as well as getting involved to secure the Strait of Hormuz. But it's unclear if Tehran is open to those plans. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest.
The ceasefire deal between Iran and the U.S., struck less than 2 hours before President Donald Trump's deadline, is now in place. But the temporary agreement is fragile. Wednesday morning, Secretary Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff cautiously welcomed the planned 2-week pause.
We hope that Iran chooses a lasting peace. But as Secretary Hegseth said, let us be clear, a ceasefire is a pause, and the joint force remains ready if ordered or called upon to resume combat operations.
The ceasefire may leave Tehran in effective control of the world's most important maritime choke point, the Strait of Hormuz. The continued control over the strait and Iran's potential charging of tolls for passage would mark a dramatic break from the international maritime order, giving Tehran effective veto power over what passes through, from food imports to oil and gas exports from its Arab neighbors.
We're in a worse position than we were before the war. The Strait of Hormuz was open. There's like 500 oil tankers waiting to get through. And Iran has essentially shut it down.
Pakistan has emerged as a key mediator between the U.S. and Iran in recent weeks, with the country's prime minister inviting delegations from both countries to Islamabad for talks Friday. Pakistan's ambassador to the U.S. says success of this process lies in secrecy.
The conflicting parties need to be afforded enough space void of any pressures outside exogenous pressures.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Trump described the continuing Israeli strikes on Lebanon as a separate skirmish with Hezbollah that was not included in the two-week ceasefire deal. A senior White House official told CNN on Tuesday that Israel agreed to suspend its bombing campaign as negotiations continue, but Trump appeared to accept that Israel would continue striking Lebanon in the meantime. And a new twist in the conflict with Iran. U.S. Congressman John Larson from Connecticut has filed articles of impeachment against President Trump. In his statement, Larson said Trump's threat to end a whole civilization if Iran did not comply with his demands is an example of him being unfit to lead. The White House, meanwhile, has called the resolution pathetic.
We have all learned about the Strait of Hormuz, but where is it and why is it so important in the oil transport system? This passage is a critical trade route bordered by the countries Iran, Oman, and the United Arab Emirates. Through the strait, more than 20% of the oil supply is traded. When the war broke out between the U.S. and Iran, that country closed off the narrow passageway by mining the waters. That bottled up the ships loaded with oil and gas and prevented them from delivering their product. But will the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz actually help with the resulting gas and oil shortages? Conflicts between the U.S. and Iran over the control of this passage has had consumers spending more money on oil and gas. Though there was a drop in oil prices on Wednesday, there isn't a guarantee that those prices of crude oil will hold. The question is whether the tankers will be able to continue passing through the area while the political talks take place. The other issue is the impact of the war. Experts say the damage has been done and it will take months before gas prices drop and the oil infrastructure will recover. So what does that mean for us at the pump? Edison?
Well, Alexandria, that is a good question. Now, let's take a look on what a ceasefire means for our gas prices here in North Texas. At the moment, the average gas price in Denton is around $4.29. Premium gas is averaging out at $46.04. However, diesel is sitting at $3.26. NTTV has compiled a list of the lowest gas prices for mid-grade gas in Denton. Sam's Club off of West University Drive and Smiley's Express off of Fort Worth Drive both have gas listed at $3.65. Murphy's Express at the intersection of East McKinney Street and Loop 288 has gas at $3.71. While conflict continues overseas, Americans are feeling the pressure at the pump and beyond. Alex, back to you.
Thanks, Edison. Coming up, Texas is giving billions in tax breaks for data centers in the state. And not only is AI taking away jobs, but Sony is too. We'll tell you more after the break.
Good evening, my name is Amanda Hasbell and I'm joining you here today in the Union parking garage. Today we're going to be going over how to drive safely in the parking garage. Let's go see. Oh my god, this girl just got hit by a car. Let's go see what happened. Ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay?
Did you see that lady hit me with a car?
Yeah, we did. I got it all on video.
Oh my god.
Let's go over here and talk about how we can prevent that.
Yeah, not the hospital.
Well, right now we're going to ask you a couple questions on how we can drive safely in the parking lot. What are ways that we can be aware of our surroundings?
Oh, we can look both ways.
Jenna, also, how about putting the distractions away?
Yes, just like our phones, turning our music down, and also not focusing on our passengers.
Where can you get information on how to get a parking pass?
Transportation.unt.edu.
If you park in a garage, make sure you pay on the app or look for further instructions on how you should pay.
And remember, no pass, no park. Let's all try to keep our mean green community safe.
Remember, we're all in this together.
Drive safe.
Well, in case you have been putting your taxes off, you only have 1 week left to procrastinate. If you won't get them done in time, you can file for a 6-month extension. Although you still have to pay what you owe by April 15th to avoid penalties. Military members can get help through meal tax. Low-income fillers over 60 years old can get free assistance through AARP. The IRS can also help answer questions through the online interactive tax assistant. For college students here on the UNT campus, check with the Money Management Center if you have questions about your taxes or need some help. Officials warn against using AI to help you file your taxes. AI is not trained in tax codes and are more likely to trigger audits. And not paying taxes but getting a tax break, Texas is giving out at least $3.1 billion in the forms of tax breaks to data centers being built in the state. This is causing the state to miss out on the money in revenue, and lawmakers are considering altering or removing the program completely. The break was implemented in 2014, and companies have grown from getting $5 million in tax breaks to $1.3 billion in 12 years. It has become one of the costliest programs in the state, and the money lost could be used to fund more important programs such as the New School Voucher Program or doubling the state's disaster fund. With 121 data centers receiving the tax break, the decision on what to do is tough. Debates about the tax break program will take place in July before the 2027 legislative session.
AI is continuing to impact job losses in the U.S., and new research shows Gen Z and entry-level workers are the biggest losers. Economists has found that AI-based substitutions to the U.S. job market have wiped out about 25,000 jobs a month in the past year. That's nearly 6 to 7% of the U.S. workforce. While this way cut down on human limitations such as fatigue, stress, and lunch breaks, it still leaves over 11 million U.S. citizens facing unemployment. Research also shows that higher-level workers are less likely to face AI replacement. Those positions typically rely on human judgment and physical presence and are less likely to be automated. These layoffs have caused a major division in the U.S. workforce, with billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban describing the two ends as those who are great at AI and everybody else that they put out of business. One of the companies that is experiencing worldwide layoffs is the Hollywood giant Sony Pictures. It's not AI that's changing their workforce here, but strategic restructuring. In a note to staff, Sony Pictures' new chief executive plans to move resources from slow growth departments to focus on core franchises like Spider-Man and Jumanji in an attempt to reach younger audiences. This would also include merging departments as they work to streamline their operations. Sony Pictures employs roughly 12,000 people worldwide, and the layoffs are expected to continue over the next coming months.
Also continuing over the next few months is this warm weather. You'd think that it would mean we were in summer right now, right?
Yes, but we're in Texas, so there could just be a thunderstorm overnight. You can never be sure.
Yeah, well, let's talk weather with our NTTV weather anchor, Emily Rice. Emily.
Thanks, guys. It's funny you bring up thunderstorms overnight because I have some news for you heading into the weekend. First, across Texas, we can see temperatures sitting relatively the same in the mid to high 70s, getting slightly warmer as we head over from the north over to the west. And then across the state, we can see higher temperatures over by El Paso, Amarillo, and Austin, as well as Shreveport, with it getting cooler into the 70s as we head into the state. Into the rest of the week, we can expect temperatures to actually begin to drop into the weekend as we are preparing for some thunderstorms. On Saturday, we can expect some PM storms heading into Sunday, where it should be raining all day. Then we'll get a nice break on Monday with some cloudy weather and a rise in temperature with a high of 85, and back to the thunderstorms on Tuesday. With how hot it's been, I'm actually pretty excited for the rain. Make sure to stay safe this weekend and keep an eye on the stormy weather. With NTTV Weather, I'm Emily Rice.
Thanks, Emily. So, Edison, what is your favorite fast food place?
Actually, I'm more of a big Qdoba person.
Hey, that's a good pick, but I honestly love Taco Bell. Unfortunately, I can't eat there every day because of the health effects.
Yeah, and according to a new study, actually, those effects are especially pronounced on children. NTTV's Ian Cropper is live with more. Ian?
Thanks, guys. We all have fond memories of fast food in our childhoods. I still vividly remember begging my mom to let us go to McDonald's whenever we drove by it on Abrams Road in Dallas. But with that said, there's an obvious reason why she didn't let me go that often. The link between childhood obesity and fast food is already well established, and new studies suggest that the adverse effects of an unhealthy diet in adolescence can last much longer. Published by University College Cork in Ireland, the study suggests that diets high in fat and sugar can rewire the part of the developing brain that controls eating, building cravings into the architecture of our minds. This means that excessive junk food in childhood leads to unhealthy habits in adulthood, making it harder to stay healthy. And this is happening amidst an environment where the $14 billion fast food marketing machine is frequently targeting children, promising toys and playgrounds to further incentivize unhealthy eating. With ads on every surface and restaurants around every corner, it can feel impossible to escape the pool of fast food. But while it can be fine in moderation, not overdoing it can have massive benefits. I, for one, am glad that my mother didn't overdo it when we traveled down Abrams Road. But while we have plenty of options for food here on Earth, beyond it gets a bit more complicated. Right now, the Artemis 2 astronauts have spent almost a week in a space slightly larger than 2 minivans, and even in the vast, empty expanse of space, people gotta eat to survive. NASA has put immense effort into keeping its crew fed, and NTTV's Dirk DiMaggio has more. Dirk?
That's right, Ian. So many people think that Deep Space Artemis crew might not have a lot of options, but you would be wrong. NASA actually arranged a total of 189 unique menu items for the crew to enjoy on their 10-day journey around the moon. Included are main courses such as barbecue brisket, breakfast sausage, and even shrimp curry. But you can't have a main course without a couple of sides such as mac and cheese and mango salad. If the main courses and sides aren't enough flavor, NASA also sent the crew up with 5 different kinds of hot sauces with 8 kinds of condiments ranging from peanut butter all the way to chocolate spread. The is scheduled to return to Earth on Friday and splash down in the coast of California, so I'm sure they're eager to get some in and out and finally sleep in a real bed. I've been Dirk DiMaggio with NTTV News.
Thanks, Dirk. Coming up, we'll tell you about the new lounge in Denton for board games.
And how you can become the next Pokemon champion. Stay tuned.
The do's and don'ts of the Pole Rec Center. See that man over there? Please do not hog weights. Instead, do this. Another important part is having an attentive spotter. See, here is an example of a non-attentive spotter. Instead, do this. Now we head to the track, which should be pretty easy, just it's important to pay attention to the way the track goes. Remember to wipe down the equipment after you're done using it. The towels are provided by the gym, so it's pretty easy to wipe down the equipment when you are done. Thank you for using the Pole Recreation Center.
The city of Denton does not fall short of extravagant events. However, if you want to do something a little bit more, a game lounge in the mall has you covered. I got a chance to visit Nexus Game Lounge where people have lots of fun and find their niche community.
Denton has a large community of avid game players. Here at Nexus Game Lounge, every night holds something different. Percy Carrillo works most nights during the events.
Ones I haven't even heard of that people just show up and they're like, hey, I'm here for da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that existed. That's so cool.
People come in to play an array of games and make crafts. From Dungeons & Dragons to Yu-Gi-Oh!, the Game Lounge offers a sense of community. Groups often start when people come in to play, and many of these groups meet every single week. Across the hall, the store has almost every game piece you can imagine. Nexus has been open for 5 months in Denton, located in the Golden Triangle Mall, and they are always open to suggestions.
There's a million events, and if there's something that people want that we aren't hosting, we'll find a way to start hosting it.
If you're looking for something to do, Nexus is the place to be.
They have events every single day of the week, ranging from $5 to $20 for entry.
The popular video game franchise Pokemon has released its newest game with a new format that's shaking things up for longtime players of the classic game. CNN's Rick Damigella has more.
Pokemon Champions is setting aside the franchise's RPG elements to focus on battling.
In Pokemon Champions, you'll be able to do the classic turn-based battling that Pokemon fans have come to know and love. It will be the sole focus of this title to recruit Pokemon, train Pokemon, and battle Pokemon with other trainers from around the world.
Dedicated Pokemon players can import characters from previous games into Champions through the Pokemon Home app, but that doesn't mean you have to have played a Pokemon game before.
We've got a recruitment feature in the game where you will essentially go and pick kind of from the Pokemon of the day and you will be able to either recruit for temporary, or you can recruit them full-time to your team.
Champions will be featured on this year's Pokemon competitive circuit.
If you want to end up competing, at our regionals or even at your local hobby shops, that's something you can do. If you simply just want to play in some casual ranked matches in the game itself, you can also do that.
Pokemon Champions is out now for Nintendo Switch consoles, with a mobile device version slated for later this year. Leveling Up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
A UNT student tells us what it means to study behavioral analysis and where she hopes it takes her.
Yeah, our segment anchor Yadira Ovalle has more. Yadira?
UNT is home to many majors, but behavioral analysis can be an underappreciated study. A college student tells me her future career path and why it is important.
Alyssa Aguirre is studying behavioral analysis, a study of behavior to improve communication and behavior skills. Aguirre currently conducts experiments on UNT students and how they react to an award system without being told anything. When conducting this experiment, she seemed very intrigued, and I asked what career she wants to go into.
So I want to go into being an RBT. An RBT is a registered behavior technician, which helps kids with autism learn how to control themselves. So let's say a kid's throwing a tantrum and you want to get them to stop, like during therapy lessons, what you'll do is you'll help them understand that they can ask to stop instead of just throwing a tantrum and leaving and walking away.
Aguirre is working hard to see how these minds work and how this can be very important to get your child a behavioral analysis appointment.
Aguirre asked me to be a part of her experiment for her class, and as I went through the award system trial, I started to get a little frustrated when I was unaware of how I would be able to gain a block without her telling me what I needed to do. Getting to see her study my reactions was amazing, and I could tell she is right where she wants to be. I'm Yadira Ovalle with Nightly News.
Thanks, Yadira. The Texas Rangers are also striving on the path to a good season.
Opening day was 2 weeks ago, and I can say I am definitely rooting for them after last year's season. Our sports anchor Jordan Lindsay is in the studio with more. Jordan?
Thanks, guys. The Texas Rangers are off to a hot start in their first few games. I'll have more after the break. The Masters coming up, there is one name to look out for, and it is DFW's very own Scottie Scheffler. Scheffler so far has 22 career wins, including 4 major championships. Scheffler will compete in the Masters tomorrow among 90 other golfers. He will also be facing defending champion Rory McIlroy, who achieved the Grand Slam last year. With North Texas being second in the American Conference, they will continue their game tonight against Tarleton State. After their loss to Florida Atlantic, North Texas is now tied with South Florida for the #1 spot with an 11-7 record in conference play. The Rangers finished their series of 3 against the Seattle Mariners. The Rangers won all 3 games, sweeping the Mariners and getting an overall record of 7-5. Texas topped off the final game with a 3-0 win against Seattle. With this win, the Rangers are now #1 in the AL West. The Rangers will now face the defending champs LA Dodgers this Friday. With NTTV Sports, I'm Jordan Lindsay.
Thanks, Jordan. You know, for the first time in a while, I actually have a lot of free time on the weekend.
Lucky you. You know, if you're looking for something to do, you could check out some theater in Denton. Our live shot reporter, Julianne Nguyen, is on site to tell us a little bit more about what the theater has to offer. Julianne?
Thanks, Alexandra. Right now, I'm live here at the campus theater with the director and the cast of the theater's newest production, To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, Jason, can you tell us a little bit about the production?
Sure. It's set in 1935 Alabama, and my character, Atticus Finch, is tasked with defending a black man. You know, from my point of view, the play is really about what happens when the people around you have a different idea of what justice means than you do.
I love that. Now, Melanie, I also heard that you had a different interpretation.
I mean, that is a good, half of it. And the other half is that it is told through Atticus's daughter's point of view. It is really Scout's story. And it is about this little girl dealing with very tough adult themes around her and learning to see things from other people's perspectives.
I love that. And speaking of Scout, I have both of the actors that play Scout right here. Now, could you guys tell me what would be the most difficult part? What was the most difficult part about this play? Tiffany, why don't you go?
Well, for me, I'm Scout as an adult, Jean Louise, and basically everything is through my memories. And the hardest thing for me was not reacting to how awesome and adorable Adeline is as Scout, because as our director reminds me, I might not have found myself quite so cute as I find Adeline, but it's great to watch her.
Love that. And we have young Scout here. Adeline, tell us about it.
Well, it was kind of hard, being the tough girl, because really inside of real life, I'm sort of like the shy girl who sort of stays behind and probably falling.
It is really hard to fall. Thank you so much, guys. To Kill a Mockingbird opens this weekend on Friday at 7 p.m. And I just wanted to mention, as someone who did theater in the past, it is always awesome to see people like you guys put so much passion and dedication into keeping the art alive. I'm Julianne Nguyen, live with NTTV.
Well, thank you for that, Julianne. That is so cool. And you know, Alex, with the storms coming in this weekend, we may have to go and watch that.
I'm so down. I mean, I love the book. I didn't know they adapted it into a screenplay. But thanks for watching NTTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow at noon and tomorrow evening at 6 here on North Texas Television.